It's one of the most convoluted, insane villain plans I've ever seen.
You know, when you put it that way.
Captain Spot, Stardate 241326.8.
I'm a Captain Kitty and I'm sitting in my chair however I want to. Meow.
She has her leg in the air. I think she's about to take her sock off. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, that book had better have a dust jacket on it or she'll send you to the par raves. It's AmbassaDeneé.
What's a paw rave?
It's the opposite of the wormhole. So there's the wormhole aliens, they're the good ones, the prophets.
Oh, okay.
It's the bad versions of them, the par raves. They want to like kill.
Paw rave sounds like something that you do when you're on drugs.
I mean, isn't all religion?
But like a cat because of the paws.
Oh,
so it's like
no, PH,
it's like an
PAH.
Don't mess with my timeline.
Sorry.
It's like a kitty rave.
Kitty rave?
Yeah, it's paw rave. Isn't that what you said? PAWRAVE?
But yeah, that's exactly what I said. I do want to mention that you did have some support in our Discord for the book situation.
Thank you.
Let me just pull. Well, don't get too excited.
Oh.
Let me pull this up. The TCS, that's their name on Discord. Although I didn't have as big an issue as Deneé with the treatment of the book all round, I was definitely unhappy with the way it was, quote, wrapped by Dax at the end. A good chunk of it was still exposed. I love
and just put in a satchel.
The things that I think people will latch onto are never the things I think they will latch onto. It's always something random that you said. Ambassador, last week's episode, do you remember that you invented a new segment for the show? Pepperidge Farm remembers, and they emailed us.
Oh no! What did I do?
What was it? What segment did you create that people have now emailed in suggestions to continue?
Shoot! This is why every time I try to launch my own show, I fail.
Yep.
What did I do?
It was coming up with a fact.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about it, and then if it's like a fact that I know and it's some obscure stuff.
Yeah.
Check your emails because I have sent you.
How many?
I've sent you 2.
Okay.
I think we'll only get to 1 this week.
Okay.
So just go to your emails and
Are we doing it right now?
We're going to do it right now, top of the show.
You didn't read these because you can't know.
The subject line in both of them was facts for Deneé. And I was like, what is this?
This is so exciting.
I had to remind myself about what you'd set
What
up.
did I do? Okay, so for this week's facts, I have one that might be a myth, and then I have one that is absolutely a fact.
Let's go.
Should we talk about them both just like super briefly?
Yes, because you're bursting too, so let's do it.
Okay. So this one's not confirmed.
Okay.
This one comes from Maryland. Hi, Ambassador. I was trying to track down a story that I remembered back from the 60s. Yes, I'm that old. Hey, girl, hey. In which NASA medical professionals were concerned that folks from Star Trek might have actually spied on their medical technology proposals to create some of the devices that we see in Bones' sickbay. So they're going to keep poking around, but thought that we might be interested in this. But also, there is a fact about the tricorder that's soon going to be coming to markets near us and then linked to a Wikipedia article, which we just learned about in our little study that we went to go, which is that there was actually funding for a medical tricorder, and the specification was to be able to scan someone without touching them.
Yes.
And there was actual like money that was put into it. And something that was handheld, and there was actually research put into it, and somebody won the money for that. But like, there's more to come on that for this competition.
Yeah, I remember that, and I followed that as it happened because I was like, this is the kind of like incentive you need. There's got to be some prize money behind it. There's got to be some business behind it. So I love that. I did not know about the rumor that they were spying on NASA to get to like.
So
update the sick base.
Unconfirmed that that's the truth. That's probably more of a rumor. If we can find facts, we'll share them.
Yeah, if you find it, share it. Tell
Tricorder
us.
is an absolute fact. That is something that they're actually still kind of playing around with trying to do.
Yeah, I love that.
And then this one is more like, did you notice this in this episode kind of a fact.
Oh, okay. I love that. I'm more likely to have noticed this.
This is from Will. Hello, Ambassador. Hi, Will.
You love that they're addressing you specifically, don't you?
You have no idea. I'm like stupid excited about it. A fun fact about the captain's cabin room in Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh.
Can you think of anything off the top of your head already that you know?
It was
Ian?
very cramped. Archer would sit at his desk and he would have his little tiny computer, and the cabin doors were weird because they're more like submarine doors, so you could like trip over to get into them because they're like hatches.
Something to note is that this show is a prequel to the original series.
Yes.
With the USS Enterprise NCC 1701.
Yeah, and it's set in like the 2160s or something, so it's like super duper, like early Star Trek.
Do you know anything about the set of portrait ships?
Oh, well, like most
in the
captains,
cabin?
he had different enterprises through the ages, which wouldn't be many, but he has one that appeared in the motion picture, which is like circles around a long tube. And I think he had a boat enterprise. That's all I can picture.
Well, Will says of those portraits, it includes the real world Space Shuttle Enterprise that was launched in the 70s.
Yes, because that's in the opening credits as well.
Space Shuttle Enterprise is named after the USS Enterprise NCC 1701, which means that Archer has a picture of a space shuttle named after a ship that does not yet exist.
Oh no, that's broken because there's a picture of most of the crew. Shatner wasn't there. Most of the actors in front of the Enterprise, because I think it was going to be called the Endeavour or the Discovery, and there was basically a campaign to change it. Like, if you're going to send a shuttle into space, it has to be called the Enterprise. So they did rename it because of Star Trek. But the fact that it's in Archer's quarters is so breaking. Oh no, that means Star Trek exists in Star Trek. That's amazing. I'd never thought of it that way.
Will signed off this email with, you have to have faith of the heart to notice this fact.
That's so true. This is why we need to watch Enterprise more, for that and nothing else.
Thank you guys for your emails. You're definitely welcome to send your facts. They both, like you said, titled it Fact for Deneé, and you can send those to iananddeneé@gmail.com.
Amazing.
I will also just say in the outtakes, I'm going to quote some NASA astronauts about how Star Trek did influence them, because that is true.
Oh, yeah,
NASA
100%. Yeah.
is inspired by Star Trek. There's just nothing that I could find to confirm that there was suspicions about seeing secret stuff.
Well, a NASA astronaut appears in TNG, which is incredible, as a transporter operative.
But there are some quotes that I will do, and I'll do that later.
Well, this week, Ambassador, it is episode 6 of Academy, a show that we are really enjoying. But this week's episode is called Come, Let's Away. What happens this week?
Oh, come, let us away.
I don't think it's going to be based on any hymns.
Oh, come, let us away.
Careless.
Okay, based on the title, we have an away team situation
Oh,
developing.
yeah, okay.
Isn't that pretty obvious? Like, isn't it going to be an away team sitch? Listen, they need to prepare for the away team shenanigans. If they're not preparing for what happens on an away mission, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
No one should be wearing red. No one should be beamed and then pull out a phaser or a tricorder. Like, there are certain things that we're hoping that we're past by now. But my more specific prediction is going to be that we need to probably hone in on Genesis at some point, which is one of the only characters of our main crew that we don't know as much about now that we've had several episodes that are sort of like about Jaden or about Transformer Boy or are about Sam / Happy.
Yeah.
So we've had plenty with Caleb, but we don't have anything really about Genesis. So I would be surprised if we don't have that this episode. So my prediction is going to be that we're going to hone in on her.
Yeah.
And something about an away mission.
Yeah, I think they're really solid predictions. I think it's likely to happen. We need to have a Genesis-focused episode pretty soon. It would be surprising if we didn't.
Yeah, and I think it's too early to... what I would love to see is us moving towards the idea of the mom returning and the bad guy returning, and kind of when is that going to interject again? Is it too early? Are they going to wait for the last 2 episodes, of the season finale to end on a cliffhanger? Are they going to be able to
make a big deal out of it at the
resist
end?
the dangling carrot of drama? I don't know, but I would love to see it come in now, because it'd be kind of interesting to actually have the return of the mom and the bad guy, and then resolve that before the end of the season. That would be cool.
I would kind of love that.
I would.
I don't want the mystery box carrot hanging around until the end. So
let's change up how we do that kind of stuff. So I want to challenge them to do that. But guess what? They've already done whatever they've done, and they can't undo it now.
No, not based on our opinions. No.
My challenge would have had to have been given to them years ago when this was all being storyboarded.
If only you knew.
If only I knew.
My broad stroke is this is going to be this is a bit wild, but this is going to be an exchange student situation where our cadets are invited aboard an alien ship and have to function as like an exchange situation, like a cultural exchange.
What makes you think of that?
Come, let's away. Like they're going to go onto a ship and away, but with these just aliens. So maybe it's like a ship of... What's the alien race going to be? It's going to be somebody that we know. It's going to be a ship of...
You don't usually do predictions. This is exciting.
No, it's because I don't know what's happening this episode, so I want to take advantage of it.
Oh, you weren't spoiled this week. Awesome.
The Romulans and the Vulcans are kind of merging at this point. Spoiler. And onto a planet called... I think the planet is called Nivar.
When you say spoiler, do you mean that was on like Discovery or something?
Yeah, Discovery, yeah. So I can't remember if the planet is called Nivar or... The conglomeration is called Nivar, but basically it's a merger of Vulcans and Romulans. So I think it's going to be one of their ships.
Let us away to Nivar.
Exactly. Nivar have I ever. Yeah, that's what I would love to see.
That's a big swing.
That's a big swing, but the big swings are really impressive when
they actually pay off.
and they actually happen. I don't think that's going to happen. That's my wild prediction.
Yeah, what if it's like you're partially right that they away somewhere, but it's just to the streets of San Francisco?
Oh, it better not be time travel, like going back in the past. Come let us away to the past.
And also, we did talk about our mid-season thoughts over on the Lorehound. So if you guys are a part of that group, you can actually kind of like hear our thoughts leading up to... This is the halfway point up to now, so...
Yeah.
We kind of like went over our halfway point thoughts, and now we're launching into the second half of the season.
Well, I'm excited to get into the rest of this season.
I know, I'm nervous though.
5 episodes to go. They can't fuck it up now, surely. Okay, let's head over to 10 Forward. We'll see you there for a full debrief. To the beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched. Most important thing first, what would you like, Ambassador?
I think a good counseling session would be great.
Straight to the med bay with you.
I think maybe a little therapy. Usually I'm like, yeah, I'll have this to drink. Or I'll try that. I didn't want to have the pizza last time, but maybe I do want just some pizza.
Well, I need to be uplifted, so I'm going to ask for the comic book, Tales from the Frontier.
Yes,
I want to read that. I'm
confused
confused about why they were in the TOS uniform, though. I didn't think the Miyazaki was TOS old.
I like that I like that you thought of that at all. I wasn't thinking about that.
I thought they said the Miyazaki was like... I thought it was a post-burn ship. But the comic definitely had like original series uniforms, so maybe they just stylized it and dressed the crew up.
The super fast version is that Miyazaki was commissioned in 3067 and remained in service until 3069.
When it blew up.
It didn't blow up. It had mechanical failures caused by the singularity drive that went offline.
So that's about 100 years ago then.
Thank you, Memory Alpha.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely not TNG era.
Or TOS era. No, it's definitely... Yeah, so I don't know...
You were saying that they had TOS outfits?
They had yellow, blue, like the bright colours of... So maybe the 3060 uniforms had like a retro feel to them.
Which would have been great.
Yeah, maybe that's got to be what it is.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll know sometime.
See what we're focusing on instead of talking about that. Yeah. Well, can we get into the show?
Are we surprised that that's what Ian is focusing on? Give us a synopsis, Ambassador, for this fucking movie.
Okay, first of all, my predictions. First of all, can we just
nailed it?
This is an away mission.
Yeah.
And the reappearance of our bad guy
before
the finale was a special bonus.
Well, you did specify that the mum and Nus Braka thing would be resolved before the finale. So that didn't come true, but he did reappear.
I don't know. It might be resolved before the finale.
Maybe. That still might be true, but I doubt it.
But the fact that they introduced it now is like, oh, that's reassuring. We're not going to be waiting until the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they did something with it. But your predictions were great. Like, your overall season prediction was that there would have to be an away mission of some sort where the cadets are in charge of a ship, and that
basically
very much
just
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're in charge of a ship that's just dead in the water, so to speak. But yeah, let's get into it. So in today's episode, it starts off with some intimacy between Caleb and Princess Buttercup. God, I feel like I need to call her Tarima after this episode. Like, she has gained my respect.
Yeah?
So, yeah, if you're going to pull an implant out of your neck that apparently goes up into your brain to save the day, like, let's go, Tarima.
It makes sense that it has that dangly tentacle thing because it's got to connect to her nervous system. It's got to connect to her brain. But it's fucking gross. I wish I didn't know that.
Anyway,
carry on.
So Caleb and Tarima are being physically intimate and they're connecting. And this is important to the rest of the episode because it explains more about her connection to Caleb, the character, as she kind of slowly through the intro and then rammed by the end begins to...
What? Oh.
No, not the end of the episode, not this first scene. Although that was happening too.
Yeah. Interesting choice of words.
We get to see that her powers are really beyond what we've seen from the Betazoid peoples in the past. We get to see telepathy and we get to see going into the mind to see memories.
Bullets.
And this connection is what ultimately allows some information to be shared back and forth because, guess what? It's time for them to go on a away mission. We've got both sides coming together for an away mission, which we've also talked about. We have the Academy side and the War side that go to a ship graveyard where they come across the Miyazaki ship that had a singularity drive. The fuck is that? I don't know. Answer that in a minute.
Go.
And it's just been sitting there dead for a long while. And so they come out here to do some mission training. And so over the last X amount of years, different war cadets have interacted with the ship. And that's important for later whenever some pre-programs get to be activated to help them out. Because as soon as our guys get over there, a nice mixture of the Academy and the war guys get over there, shit goes sideways. Because guess what? The bad guy is back. He has set a trap. And the Federation falls right into it. And though there is some curiosity about how well things are going and some red flags and some feelings that something isn't quite right, the Starfleet ends up playing right into it. And they don't lose all of the cadets. Instead, they lose an entire space station. Dun, dun, dun.
Great synopsis, Ambassador. Wowza.
This is an action.
This is a big episode.
Where we have had, what a swing. What a swing going from last episode where we're just like in Sam's happy little fun time world.
Right.
Into the real throes of what life is actually like out there in the universe.
Yeah, and how bad it can get.
Yeah, we're back out into the real world. We're outside of the special halls of our little happy Starfleet Academy and being reminded about a very real cutthroat world out there.
Yeah, a very real situation outside of like training exercises and cute. Oh, look, the lesson you've got to learn here is this. This is the real world now, people.
So,
did you like it, Ambassador, overall?
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, me too. I loved this episode. It is doing a lot. It's a little unfocused at times. It's trying to
It's very dramatic.
it's trying to pull in a lot of people. But overall, this is a great episode for me. Like, this is a great mix of like Star Trek action, Star Trek science fiction, a double cross, pretty good bad guy, some genuine like stakes as well with people dying, and a good setup for like scary stuff to come. Like, this was a really, really solid episode. And I sound hesitant.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't be. I think I just didn't expect it to pull off. I expected it to attempt an episode like this, but I didn't expect it to execute it as well as this. And I think they really, really pulled out a good episode.
Yeah, there's a really good tension. There's some good creature work in here with a new alien bat species.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah,
Love them.
the stakes are high, like you said. So I think this is for me, it was a good one. And it was a nice change of pace and a reminder of the types of episodes you can see inside like one universe.
Exactly.
So
yes.
far in this series, I haven't like not enjoyed. I know some people are really frustrated, but this is fun to see because we're moving outside of the Academy, Hogwarts-esque, in the future sci-fi version to space battles and kind of more of that the away missions that you kind of want to see maybe sometimes in Star Trek.
Honestly, if this doesn't tick your box, and if one of the episodes so far hasn't ticked your box, I'm not sure what Star Trek you're watching. I'm not sure what you come to Star Trek for, because Academy's managed to hit a lot of those beats. So I'm having an absolute blast with it.
Yeah, I think it's a really well-balanced season so far because we started off with two pretty the first episode specifically was extremely action-packed, and this really felt like that. This is kind of like the start to the second half is starting off kind of like the first half, which is really smart to do in my opinion. So we're going to do our 3 points each and then 3 extra single lines. These are just little extra things we want to end. Now, we did terribly this last time. Listen,
we did 3 extra paragraphs.
We're still trying to figure out what feels right for the format. But thank you guys for your feedback. We've gotten some really kind emails about enjoying the new format change. We have had one email that was like, I didn't even notice a difference. That's okay. But we are noticing a difference because back and forth we're able to just, I don't know, kind of cover a lot of the elements of the show. Still talk about it a little bit out of order, but in context to our 3. So who wants to go first today?
You first, Ambassador. I think I've been going first a lot.
I want to talk about, I just said I wasn't going to forget her name. Tarima?
Yeah, Tarima.
Oh my God, I did it.
Think about this. I'm going to help you. Tarima, you've got to see her. Her name has an R in the middle.
That doesn't help me at all.
She's from Beta Zeta.
No. Tarima, she's gonna screama. Hello.
Oh, why didn't I do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Going insane and out of your mind. That's great. Yay.
We have intimacy and control and sacrifice on her storyline in this one single episode.
So your focus is Tarima.
Tarima,
your
the
number
character.
Yeah, nice.
That's my number one. I guess let's start here. Do you think that next episode will have her eyes be totally dark? Because this came up before when we had her. We knew that someday that thing was going to come off of her neck. And all we've seen so far is that it's kind of changed color, maybe when things are getting a little more dangerous. And it didn't seem like her eyes changed. We've kind of been looking for it, been wondering if it was going to happen. But she's now in a coma, so we never saw her with that thing off of her neck. So I don't know. What do you think?
I want to say I'm rolling back to my season prediction that I said in episode whenever we first meet her.
Remember that far back?
I wrote it down.
Wow.
My word for word, the inhibitor will get knocked off and someone dies because of her emotions.
Yeah, we're kind of getting close. Yeah.
People absolutely died because of her emotions.
Yeah, that absolutely happened.
It was just way more intentional than I expected it to be.
Well, and here's the other thing. It was in such control. She doesn't...
Yeah, no, she targeted that shit.
What she does in this episode is, I don't know, advanced level telepathic precision. And she screams she literally screams the life out of very specific individuals. She doesn't kill her own... She kills every single person on that bridge that she knows. And yes, they're sensitive to sound or whatever, but she didn't also make anyone else's hearing blow out. That's not, and it wasn't emotional overflow. The background of her has always been I lost control. And then they have a moment with the war guy. I called him Warmonger. I can't any longer do that. His name is Kelrick. They have a moment with Kelrick and Captain Kitty. I can't not call her Captain Kitty.
That's fair. People would be disappointed.
And they are both, the brother and sister are both this is inaccurate information. This is out of date. She's better now. And they're yeah, but you've had that inhibitor in for a long, long time. So
how do you know?
How do we know that? And kind of having to trust them sort of as a backup plan. But anyways,
the psilocybin today.
The setup
So much psilocybin.
So much. I don't know what that means. But there's so much of this, like, it's an emotional overflow. This is an out of control situation. But what we saw was like surgical psychic targeting.
Yeah, this moved on from
extreme control.
This wasn't telepathy. This was telekinesis by telepathy.
Well, she did have telepathy going on with her link with Caleb.
Yeah, it's happening via telepathy, but there's a kinetic. She is physically manipulated. Telepathy is like thoughts and feelings and emotions and concepts. She physically blew up their brains. Like that's
using
a
telekinesis.
different. That's a different thing. We've never seen Beta Zeds do that to my knowledge. Like that is intense. That's a big superpower.
Yeah, it's kind of like the eye question has become sort of secondary to this. To her kind of coming into her power, ripping out that which has controlled her and kept her back. And yeah, she's in a bad position now. She's in a coma now. So that's not great for her. She gave herself up. I don't know. It's a very interesting choice. It's like this, I don't know. I've been thinking about how like Deanna Troi in The Next Generation, which is obviously a character that I really loved because I loved all the characters of TNG. But for her as a character to be able to like sense and feel and have like the empathy, that's been really more of what Troy showed us in TNG. The ability to kind of like interject in various stories and in various moments to like use her sensing
to convey, I've got a bad feeling about this person or they're hiding something.
Right. Because that was sort of like where the writers had to kind of move that. And then there's been talk about like the full Beta Z power and
like her mother being way more powerful and fluent.
So, and this just like pushes it behind. This is like weaponized empathy or something. And then of course she goes into the sacrifice where she's uninhibiting herself, putting herself at risk for all of her fellow cadets and what she thinks is right and good. And I don't know, is this the first time that the show has made her feel a full beta's way? Because up to now it's just kind of been like a little pictures here and there, but we got to see basically inside the mind of what it's like to talk to this kind of an alien, where we're seeing him in her safe place in her mind. It's just like we've never seen this kind of like visual example of how they're coming together. It's not just girl with psychic vibes. This is like moving into powers and abilities, and they're showing it to us in a unique way. And so I was really, really into this.
Yeah.
Like this, I would just watch this show.
Yeah?
I would watch this version. Caleb and, Tarima Screama, right. Their little like 90210 vibe or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Because it was, I don't know, I really liked how they set it up. And they had this like intimate moment. And then there was like an uncomfortable too much was shown of Caleb's past. And then there was an apology. But then then they are showing the true power behind what she's capable of. I was really liking that stuff. I don't know. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, it starts off right at the beginning with an accidental overshare, which is funny because the overshare isn't Tarima oversharing. She's over pulling from Caleb as they have their intimate moment.
Yeah, she knows that teddy bear is not in her field.
Yeah.
She reached for it.
But but
the symbolism was cool.
It was really cool. I love Caleb's reaction of, wait, I thought we were in your mind. We were actually in my mind. And I think his objection is completely founded, to be honest. That was a violation. And it's interesting that she has so much control at the end of the episode, but was seemingly unaware that was going to happen at the top of the episode.
That's interesting. I didn't know if it was an accidental merging, like that they were in her mind and then shifted into his, but hers was like a filter or like an overlay that was put over his reality, which is why when she saw the thing and reached for it, she thought, how did that get here? Kind of like the symbolism of two people becoming one, that kind of a vibe.
Yeah, I think that's probably it, because she doesn't really get a chance to like kind of talk back to Caleb's objection. And I imagine that when you are sharing a mental mind palace like that, but of course his mother is always in his mind somewhere, so it's going to be an easy thing to access. So, But I also get like not him being mad that she didn't give him a heads up, because you got to think that she wanted to take him to a safe space and want him to feel safe. So she knew that this Mind Palace thing was going to happen. Just guys, people, girls, everybody, consent is always
That's
important.
an interesting point.
Talk about it. Talk about it before you do it.
Imagine showing this scene in like a sex ed class and then talk about how consent is both given and not given. She talks about something that this deltoid, or I don't know.
The Deltans.
The Deltans do, and whispers it in his ear, and then they're like, I can try it. You know, that.
Yeah,
and
that's what you do.
That's good consent.
Yeah.
But not consent is her bringing him along in, whether it's a sexual consent or not. You know, you need to ask somebody, I guess, before you take them away on a mental palace thing, you know?
Yeah, I think that's important.
But it's an interesting example of how sometimes you make a mistake and you accidentally find that in your desperation, in her desperation to be intimate or to like show him safety, she violated something without really thinking about it. And this happens in youth a lot, because until you really hurt somebody, sometimes you don't realize that something you're doing instinctively is actively hurting other people, and then it's through those painful moments you realize that you've hit a boundary of some kind. So it was uncomfortable to watch, but that particular part of her powers, and I think it just is really important to show at the end. If we don't have that at the beginning, then the end doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really glad that they had their connecting point.
And
they've done that.
Like seeing her powers, even if she's not doing a good job of it and not getting consent, wasn't it kind of cool?
No, it's really cool. Like, I think the Mind Palace is really cool, and it immediately made me it made me think about Deanna and Riker so much. Like, we never get to see
a sex scene with them.
We never get. No, we do.
Oh, we do? I haven't. I want to see it.
No, you can't.
Oh, why?
It's terrible.
Oh, no.
No, I've just remembered what happens, and it's horror. Oh, fuck, no. We have seen one sex scene with Deanna and Riker, and they ruined it. And you'll find out when we watch.
Oh, no.
It.
What? Oh, no.
That's a bunny trail. We can't get down there right now, Deneé.
Okay.
But
let's focus on this sex scene, because I loved it.
Yeah,
it was great.
What we've never seen is Riker and Deanna's early days of dating. And this is what I picture it to be like. Like, I kind of get to vicariously implant Deanna and Riker on Terima and Caleb and just imagine this is how I bet that kind of like, because they would be similar ages as well, like ish. I think Deanna and Riker would be a little bit older, but I really like that. So it feels really relatable to me as a Star Trek fan. Yeah. And it's like, it just kind of fills in some gaps that we're never going to get. So I'm really glad that they did it. And you're right, it is crucial for where Terima ends up and that connection to Caleb and how she uses it, and just there's two opposite like kind of ends of passion. There's this like joyful passion that encourages her to use her power at the beginning of the episode, and then this angry passion of injustice that causes her to rip it out and fully unleash fury on the Furies. I love Terima in this episode. She is a powerhouse, and I hope we get to keep seeing her in her power. She reminds me of Kes in Voyager. Super duper underutilized, misused character. Had huge psychic abilities and powers. Like, she would be the closest to Terima that we've seen, where Kes could manipulate metal, fabrics, could like just kill people, blow things up. And when you see Kes at the height of her powers, she's terrifying and out of control. And I want to see Terima in these powers, but in not out of control. I think there's a bit of out of control that has to happen. But I love seeing Terima as this powerful entity.
I would watch this episode again and focus on the symbolism too. At the very end, when she pulls Caleb back into the safe space, her safe space where she would go when she was afraid, which is where they are in her mind. So they are in her mind in that field of flowers. And then he's standing there
in his quarters.
In her field of flowers, while she is screaming in the field of flowers, which represents what she maybe did to her dad and broke his hearing, which is now how we know he doesn't have hearing.
Love that. I mean, trauma, but love that as a twist.
And she is unleashing and letting him see her in her power and her terror, knowing that this might be the end, either because she's not going to come back from it literally, or because he's going to be like, I don't know that I want to.
I don't want you to burst my eardrums.
Be with you. But she protects him from bursted eardrums somehow. No one's coming out completely deaf.
No, that we know of.
From this that we know of. But he got to see her do this sonic eruption from her esophagus.
Yeah. And well, he got to see her at her most vulnerable.
Literally being in an intimate moment, and then also in this moment, just to really show everything that she is. And she just like let him see it. And that is really, really symbolically beautiful. And it makes me love this character instead of she's moving from she's never really fully been the girl that doesn't know what she wants, because though they let her be soft and kind of very youthful and smiley,
she's always had a power.
She's always had a very confident authority over herself and what she wants to do, and not cater to Caleb's needs. Like, she is kissing him and with him because she wants to be with him at every moment. So for me, this moved her further out of the Princess Buttercup region and into the Screama.
Yeah. Instead, she went into Princess Cup her butt.
Because she cupped his butt?
Because there was butt cupping.
Yeah, there was butt. Yeah. Wow.
Cupping of butts.
Are you really proud of that one?
I will say this is the first time to my knowledge that we see an implied sex scene on TV Star Trek. Like, there was side boob and everything. This is, I think, the most explicitly sexy that Star Trek has ever been. And I was like, this feels very grown up.
And the woman was on top.
Yes.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Have you seen the size of Caleb? She absolutely crush her.
Yeah. How horrible would that scene be? Like, Caleb, can you move a little to the left? You know what?
You broke my rib. Sorry. Yeah. I do, just in that moment, I don't care if this is one of my sentences. You mentioned the Deltans. I love that the Deltans were used as an example
of her experiences.
It's so hilarious to me, and it's so deliberate. Why are you grunting?
I'm just realizing something that happens a lot, which is the woman loses her virginity to the special guy. And this episode was like, no, she's not only not losing her virginity, she's telling him during their sexcapades about her other sexual experiences.
Yeah, love that.
And I was just like, this is so great. This is what it should be like.
It should be in a galaxy of diverse species. There should be diverse sexual practices as well.
And it's something like, until you really pay attention to it, you might not like notice it very much. But for example, just this idea, this purity culture for women that we're supposed to save ourselves, but men can have many sexcapades and that's totally fine.
The math on that never works out.
It's just so nice to see that subverted ever so slightly, but I'm sure it was intentional. And there have to be some really strong female writers or influencers.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And some super fucking nerds as well. The reason picking a Deltan specifically is such a clever move as well is that the only other Deltan we've really seen on screen, or the most famous one, is in the motion picture. And this is a Deltan that comes on board and has a history with the new captain of the Enterprise, Captain Decker, who gets demoted to be Commander Decker, but they have a history together. The first thing, this Deltan lady, who is absolutely beautiful, and the idea is that Deltans are inherently beautiful, though they are irresistible. Mm-hmm. So she comes on board, reports to Admiral Kirk, and says, like, hello, Admiral Kirk, as you will see, my oath of celibacy is on record. The first thing that she says as she comes onto the ship is basically, don't worry, I'm not going to be fucking anyone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like a cultural thing or a Deltans are so sexy they can't resist it thing, but the reason that this is such a smart thing to do is that Decker and Ilea were basically the proto Riker and Deanna. So the motion picture at one point was going to be a TV show, and Decker and Ilea were basically filling the roles of what would eventually become Riker and Deanna in TNG. So there's just another parallel between her having a relationship with a Deltan, and then how that ties. I just saw that as a nod to how Decker and Ilea were meant to be the like kind of Betazoid human relationship that Deanna and Riker became. So it's like, maybe that is me reading way too deep.
It could
but
be.
Of all of the species you pick, Deltan was a very specific one to pull out. So I kind of love that, especially if it's deliberate.
Kylie Rossiter is one of the writers for this episode. And so I don't know a lot about, like, I'm instantly intrigued. This looks like it could be a me, just somebody who's a passionate writer who just nailed something and got to write on something major.
That's amazing.
So I want to believe that this would be the influence of a young female writer, but I don't know. Because as you and I know, as writers for our jobs and what we do when we produce the videos that we produce, there's so many times whenever I'll be like, oh, Ian wrote that, and it wasn't. Or like someone will be like, oh, Deneé wrote that, and it wasn't. It was you, you know. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
All right, Ambassador. My point is going to be extremely nerdy.
I thought it was about the Deltans. Oh, that was your single
We're still
point.
talking about Terima.
Oh,
that was me bouncing off of your points,
Jiminy
Ambassador.
Christmas.
You gotta rein me in. What I love, or one of the things I want to focus on, is the structure of the first half of the episode, which is something that just spoke to my little Trekkie heart and how it evolved.
Trekkie heart.
This is such a mirror of some classic TNG episodes. Peak Performance is one that specifically jumps to mind. And this is the idea of a training mission that I love that setup to begin with, which is this is your target, this is your team, this is what you have to do, you have this amount of time to prep, and putting it on board a derelict starship where you have minimal resources. Like, that's what happens in Peak Performance. Riker is given an ancient-ass ship with no warp drive, no weapons, minimal crew, and it's a test for him. How good are you, Riker? Can you get this ship ready for battle in a training exercise?
Yeah, and it's not a training exercise inside of a simulation.
No,
it's real.
An actual ship. Yeah. And you've got the whole like...
That looks so cool in space.
It looks so cool. The backlit
with
nebula.
The nebula thing, and it was like the sun was shining, but there's no sun. It was a star. Well, a star is a sun. Oh my God.
It's like the space as a cinematographer, and it's just like, how did you frame that nebula so fucking... pretty. Whoever is piloting the ship is also a fantastic shot composition person, because they positioned the Athena perfectly. Not so that the Miyazaki can be visible, but so that it's beautifully backlit.
It's so great.
But I love that setup, and for me that could be the entire episode, and Ian is a happy bunny, and there's a bit of him that is remorseful it wasn't that. But like Peak Performance, some bad guys turn up in Peak Performance, and what goes from a training simulation jumps to, hey Riker, you need to get this ship going so that you can defend the Enterprise. And then suddenly the training mission turns into, shit, all hands on deck. There are stakes now and we actually have to do this. And that's what happens here. And I love that the crew actually has to jump from this training exercise to, no, we need the Miyazaki functional so that we can help the Athena as much as possible. Again, I would love that to be a deliberate nod back to these classic episodes. Again, it may just be just a trope that's really fun, but I love that structure as the framing of the entire episode. It keeps the pace going. It really fun. It introduces stakes, and it's a believable way for the cadets to actually show what they're made of. And then the episode shifts and twists into a real emergency, and it's just a fun playing ground for something like that to happen, where the stakes aren't just, somebody getting to go on shore leave, or a silly little bet back and forth, or bragging rights between, different groups, because we had a A and a B group or whatever. Yeah, and half the crew is on the Athena, the other half are on the Miyazaki. Yeah. And if you fail, then the next group gets to go. And so for a minute, you're wondering, okay, well, what's this episode going to be like? Are they going to find something on that ship? Are they going to break something? Is there going to be another fight? But it turned into what it ended up developing into.
Is that also part of your point too, or are you done with your first point?
No, that was it really. It's that framing of the episode it's really appealing to me, and then you can have so much fun inside of it. And I think that's something I miss from 80s and 90s Star Trek, is that the very clear premise setup that happens. Like, it's pretty clear from the beginning of a lot of TNG, Voyager episodes, Deep Space Nine, not as much, but it's going to be this type of episode. And we've talked about that this season. Like, it's going to be a holodeck episode. It's going to be a, diplomacy episode. Or it's going to be a trapped somewhere episode. And that's very comfortable for me. I really enjoy that. And this, knowing that it's cadets are on a mission, shit's going to go sideways. It felt really good. That's why away missions are so appealing as a plot device as well.
A couple things I really liked about the away mission specifically before things get crazy was the plasma suits looked really neat when they were activated. And then also Caleb,
really pretty.
Caleb attempted to use programmable matter to insert into a machine to see if it could do something. And the question was like, is that allowed? And the teacher that sacrifices his own life when things go sideways certainly was like, hey, anything can go. We're trying to survive on this thing. If you've got an idea to put
if it's in the real world, then yeah.
But I thought that was kind of an interesting. It looked like there's some new tech and some new ideas that this particular crew is able to bring along with them, and it again shows that Caleb is pretty resourceful.
Yeah. And he's willing to think outside of the box as well. While we're talking about the Miyazaki, let's quickly talk about the singularity drive.
That's one of my questions that I had in my final little thoughts at the end is, okay, so why is that? What the fuck is this singularity drive, and why is it important?
Well, I love that they didn't feel the need necessarily to invent something completely new just out of thin air. I think there's a 95% chance this is based on the forced singularity drive that the Romulans use. So you remember during our time travel season, we watched Timescape, and that's where the Enterprise and the Romulan Warbird are frozen in time, and Picard and Deanna, Data and Geordi are on the runabout, and they arrive and they have to figure out why they're frozen in time. They beam aboard the different ships, and it turns out that the Romulans were doing something funky with their equivalent of a warp drive, which is basically a contained artificial black hole. And that's what this singularity drive is. It's basically a forced black hole, and using all of that gravitational energy to fuel the ship. But they are extremely dangerous, extremely unstable, and apparently it's only the Romulans that have managed to be able to do it. So I just love that fun little callback. That's got to be what it's referring to.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, love that.
My second point is about the space battle.
Let's go right at the end.
Because we're just going to skip over some more stuff and go to the thing.
Talk about the thing you want to talk about.
So the kind of crux of this episode, after this away mission goes sideways, and all of a sudden appearing on screen back on the Athena, our main ship, where half of the cadets are playing out this mission or whatever with the actual crew of the Athena, all of a sudden appears like 30 things. Signals. Something is going on. Something beams aboard, and they realize, something else is out here, and it is now interacting with the ship, and it shouldn't be. There's a figuring out of who that enemy is, which I did write it down. I don't have it here in front of me, but we're going to call them the bad guys. Because instead of bad guys, it's bat guys. Oh, yeah.
Furies? Yeah, the Furies. I keep calling them furries in my head.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's all I could read. We had the subtitles on, and they said who they were, and I was like, yeah, the Furies have been in this sector, but I just read the furries have been dominating this sector. It's like, those damn furries. Doesn't have the same. They will come for us all.
And so for the great portion, we think that these creatures are like the main villain of this episode, right? And the creature work on them is very interesting. It's kind of a mix of modern horror meets like whisper horror meets it reminds me of, did you ever see the extended edition of Return of the King? I think it was Return of the King, where the big fight at the end of Lord of the Rings, right? And in the movie, they made something called like the Mouth of Sauron, rather.
Right.
Did you ever see it?
No.
Okay. And it was a creature work that never really made it to the actual movie because it wasn't in the books. It kind of detracted from the story. The idea was that they wanted there to be a visual example of Sauron on the battlefield.
Some kind of fodder.
Something that they could chop up right then and kind of give some momentum or whatever. But the creature work of it, for some reason, it reminds me of these creatures.
Oh, interesting.
It's a bit of a stretch in that the creatures in this episode they've got these kind of like elongated heads with these.
But is it like a holographic projection?
No.
Because they were like skittering about.
They're skittering about. That also is very different from Lord of the Rings. It was more like the presence of them reminded me of this like really creepy mouth thing.
Oh, they are
They're
creepy.
super creepy.
But I was pretty sure I was seeing a projection.
I think they were physically
or you just
there.
think they were just snapping around really quick.
Yeah, I just think that they were like moving in this really like very strange way.
Honestly, they are...
Like they're phasing in and out almost.
Yeah, I can't think of a creature in Star Trek that has intimidated me and scared me as much since the Borg. Like, they were genuinely, with the chittering and the chattering and the cannibalism, they remind me of the Reapers. No, is it the Reapers or the Reavers from Firefly?
Oh, Reavers. I think it was the Reavers.
Like,
yeah.
And they are humans that have defaced themselves. So these people were just terrifying to me. And like the way they moved, there's like a zombie horde element to them as well that's out of control.
But not all of them seem to do that. So they did a really good...
They're way more organized.
They're more organized. They had different kind of personalities. And so you're able to watch this episode and focus on them. But the conversations between Captain Kitty and...
Nus Braka.
Nope. The Admiral...
The Dadmiral Vance.
Dadmiral Vance and War Guy.
Kelrek.
God.
You're doing great.
There's so many people in this show.
There are, I went back to IMDb, there are 80 listed people in this show.
So they're talking about this enemy, and because of the Batmen not like shutting stuff down, they can't get the kids out. Just the standard Trek tropes going on.
Yeah, transporters won't work, scanners won't work, communicators won't work.
They can only think of a couple of things, and the one that seems the best is to re-invite
Nus Braka,
the guy from the first episode, Mr. Bad Guy, Mr. Pirate, Mr. Clinky Rings.
To parlay.
To help them because he's apparently dealt with these bad guys in the past. And so they're like, you tell us your secrets, we'll give you a trade for it. He asks for a trade. And it's all a ruse for a greater enemy to appear on the battlefield at like the perfect time. And it's when the fullness of all of that is revealed that Captain Kitty and crew realize that they have taken the bait. There's even a transmitted message that they de-encrypt that says they took the bait, bon appetit. Like he has handed all of these people to the kind of the big season baddies. And so finally, after all of that, this isn't the bad guy. It's not actually this bad guy. It's actually this bad guy. And then we finally get to see people shoot each other. And then it's over really fast. There really wasn't that much shooting going on. I was a little bit disappointed because...
By the space battle?
Yes, by the...
Yes.
That's what I'm fucking talking about is a space battle.
Yeah.
It was... You have to talk about a lot of shit to get to the space battle because the space battle lasted this long and it's like an inch.
Yeah.
But... I was so pumped for it. And then they're turning on the engine of the other ship. And I thought some cool shit was going to happen for that too.
Oh, man.
But then it was kind of like...
I was waiting for that.
But it was just to disrupt the shit so they could beam the kids out. And
they kept staring at like the screen. And I was like, external shot, please. External. Oh, no, we're just looking at the fireflies.
And it was like this... they had contingencies upon contingencies for getting the kids, which I appreciated in the planning.
Yeah.
But the brief moment when they're firing on and they have a whole other ship that appears from Space Station J-19.
Sargosa?
That seemed like it was going to be really cool. And I got just so pumped that we were going to see a great space battle. But I think what happened is that they got what they needed and ran. And
no, so this was a complete
because it was
distraction.
a distraction.
So the Sargasso, was the key ship that was defending Station J19. And Station J19 is making all kinds of crazy weaponry. So the idea here is that the Sargasso leaves the space station completely undefended, gets disabled, obliterated immediately, which means nobody is able to get to the space station to prevent the 8 Venari Ral ships from ransacking it and taking all of the weapons technology. So they didn't want anything from the Sargasso. They just wanted it away from the space station.
So the space battle that we were robbed of, that I was super excited happened at the space station. And we probably shouldn't have seen it because it would have just been horrible.
Absolutely. This is what 359 levels of fuck, that's not nice. I'm with you. I was disappointed as well. I see I love the Venari Ral ship just
it looks so ominous, doesn't it?
It looks so scary, so ominous. And then it immediately fires on the Sargasso, which
disables it.
Crushed me because I love that class of ship. It was so
pretty.
The new Intrepid class is so fucking pretty.
Look like a flying Delta to you?
It looks very much like a flying Delta or a flying Voyager. Because I believe it's the new version of Voyager is what I'm trying to pull out of my memory banks. But it isn't Voyager. This is obviously a completely different ship. But it fires on it, and I'm expecting something else, and then we cut away, and then eventually we get the Athena firing on the Venari Ral ship, and then we cut away from that. So you're right. The space battles have left a bit to be desired. I'm even missing TNG space battles compared to this, and they were fairly pedestrian.
But we do get to see some really great ones with CGI, and I think that's something that I just have to be it's okay. We've just not seen a lot of space in this series because we are in an academy that is in San Francisco, which is not in space.
Absolutely. Well, it is in space, technically.
I mean, part of it can be in space because the Athena does go to space, but it's not. Are you talking about the planet being on space?
Yes,
oh my God.
We are all in space today.
Yes, but you know what I mean. In the space of space.
In space.
So J19, we think, is a weapons test site?
We know it is. It's a weapons research facility for highly classified, top of the line weapons.
So is it pre-Federation?
No idea. What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, has it been around for a long time and then, the Federation took it over? Or
No, I think it's built by Starfleet and the Federation as a weapons research place. Yeah, based on what Kelrick was saying, they just research weapons there. That's what they do.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a really bad place to leave with one ship.
Why would there only ever be one ship?
Why would there only ever be one ship around it?
That sounds cuckoo.
And then why would you ever leave it undefended? It's wild that... I mean, my next point is talking about
let's do
Nus Braka's plan.
Okay, let's talk about Nus Braka's plan because it kind of goes into all this.
So we'll talk about, Nus Braka is my next point, obviously, because
let's talk about it.
He has returned. Paul Giamatti is back, eating up the scenery.
Again,
just super duper
drinking
over
it
the
up
top.
in this episode.
Drinking it up. His entire plan is to set up this trap with the Furies, who we presume he has teamed up with. Instead of combating them, he's seeded this rumor throughout Starfleet and the galaxy that he managed to defeat the Furies so that he would be the one that they came to when the Furies attack whatever is happening on the Miyazaki. So he knew that the training was going to happen on the Miyazaki because it happens every year. He didn't specifically know that Caleb was going to be there, but he knew cadets would be on the ship. So he sets this seed off that he's the man to come to beat the Furies. But the plan is to actually eventually tell Starfleet that the Furies are vulnerable to this hypersonic sound thing, knowing that they are developing a hypersonic sound weapon and that the Sargasso is the only ship that will have this and will be called to assist, leaving Station J19 vulnerable. And his plan works perfectly. It's one of the most convoluted, insane villain plans I've ever seen, and it works. They fall for all of it. You couldn't write it.
When you put it that way.
It is insane.
There's a scene or two where he's really enjoying his particular position with Captain Kitty. And he gets to kind of take his time, and talk to her about her history and his history. And then at the end, after the trap has been sprung and he wins and he's gone and, people are dead and he doesn't care, he leaves another little just turn the weapon in the wound message for her. And he basically outlines his absolute, fully complete, unquestionable hatred of her. Whereas maybe, I bought the ruse for a while. I was like, oh, he's going to help out so that he can get a trading route or something,
Completely.
Like the way that they presented it. Yeah, it was all going pretty well. And it was a little bit strange a couple of times when she said, this is just going too easy. Like, okay, well, you're not going to have her say that unless this is going too easy. So what is happening?
That's
so we're kind of
only thing that really twigged me on to, okay, there's a double.
Yeah, something's going on. But when you know what's happened by the end, and then you look back on all the things he said to her, it's like, oh, he really hates her. He's been planning this for as long as possible. Is it possible for this, like you said, this convoluted plan to work based on what he is dialoguing as he's confidently pacing around her quarters and, just ruminating and having a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Having a great time being a villain. Is it possible, for him to have taken, 10 years to plan something like this?
That's a good point.
Because it's not like it just happened.
Actually, no, because
in a short period of time.
No, he's only just broken out. He's only just, I guess he could have been plotting. When did he escape jail?
I thought he escaped with the mom a while ago.
Like a year ago, isn't it? I think it is. I think it's only a year ago.
So let's say he's sitting in jail hating her for however long he was in jail. However long, Kalo, 18 years?
Yeah, sounds
is that right.
Yeah, I think so. 15. It's like 15 years.
It's a long time to come up with a plan.
But I guess the bit that I'm like, I think the Sargasso being the only ship is bad. But I think the one that's like the biggest leap that he has to depend on is seeding Admiral Vance and whatever other channels he needed to seed, that he is the only person who could possibly help them deal with the Furies. Like that's the seed that he has to incept. He has to get them to come to him. He can't turn up and volunteer his help because that's way, way, way too suspicious. They've got to reluctantly drag him in. Like that's the bit that's really hard to set up in my brain.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck on a few things too now that we're talking about it. And it does make it kind of hard in a way to have as much fun with the episode when you get into the villain's plan. And we have a lot of experience.
Yeah, we do.
From our jobs getting into the villain's plan and trying to kind of ask, how does this work? And sometimes, yes, we do it because that's part of our job. But at the same time, sometimes you do it and it unravels the fun of the episode. And I think now that I'm thinking about it more, it is a bit unraveling because there are so many particular elements to this. But I guess one thing that I didn't connect with is the idea that this Sargasso ship was the only ship that could do this particular harmonic resonance or whatever was happening with the shields to emit this sound. I thought that they were just the closest ship.
No, it hinges on the Sargasso not being able to get back as well because they don't target Athena. They decloak and target the Sargasso immediately because it could just warp back. And so the implication is, and this is the other thing that's confusing to me, is that the implication is that the Sargasso could apprehend or defeat the 8 Venari Ral ships that are at the space station, but it was caught off guard by this one Venari Ral ship. So I guess there's got to be something about they would have seen an attack coming, but the Sargasso not being there meant everything is more vulnerable. So maybe they do have a few other ships at the space station, but none that are able to turn the tide against the Venari Ral. But I don't buy that either. It's crazy that it all hinges on the Sargasso being pulled away and then immediately disabled by one ship while 8 other ships do the ransacking and looting of the space station. It's just when you just watch it face value as an episode, it's superficially very appealing and very cool. It's double cross, oh no, disaster. But you take more than a minute to take it apart, it's not very satisfying. And the most equal comparison I can think of with the kind of villain we're going for is Khan in The Wrath of Khan. And he is quoting Shakespeare. He's very over the top. Ricardo Montalban is eating up scenery, exactly the same as Nus. But Khan's one focus is kill Captain Kirk. The plan is no more complicated than that. And Kirk is his Moby Dick. And it's just revenge, revenge, revenge. And all of the crazy stuff he does, all of the like risks that he takes, all of the dumb, quote unquote, dumb things he ends up doing, I buy it through the lens of he is insane with revenge. He's lost everything because of Kirk. And he is just like, he is a madman on a warpath and will give up everything as long as Kirk goes down with him. Nus has some of that in his hatred for Nala, which I don't fully understand other than Nala put him in prison for 15 years. But it feels like it's a much deeper hatred than that. But then that's comboed with, I'm not just going to kill Nala. I'm going to come up with this Starfleet fucking Federation spanning revenge plot that puts me in charge of some powerful weapons. And then Nala is kind of like a byproduct of that. I get to stab you and prod you along the way. So there's this where I think they're going for Khan, but they've landed somewhere a little bit overcomplicated and a bit messy. And that's like kind of my thoughts with Nus, is that he has this cartoonesque character to him, but then his actual plan and his plots and what he's doing are very not cartoon and very complicated. And I'm a little bit lost with him after this episode. I'm enjoying Paul Giamatti and his scenery eating, but Nus as a character is losing me.
I agree. And I'm also wondering how powerful he has to be to have the Nosferatu guys and what are they called?
You could be talking about the Venari Ral or the furries.
Venari Ral. The Venari Ral. That's right, I could, because Nosferatu is bad. Oh, that's funny. Well, both of them. How he has the resources to... So the last time we saw him, he was blasting out of an escape pod after seeing an entire ship of the Venari blow up. So he presumably gets back to them and says, hey, we're not done yet. I'm going to need 8 more of your ships. Mm-hmm. I'm going to deliver a big boon to you.
I think he's the leader. I don't know that they've explicitly said that, but it seems to be that he's the leader of the Venari Ral.
Or he has enough resources to persuade them to do whatever he's saying. Like, let him be. Yeah, I mean, he very much has leader vibes. But then also he has to have enough connections, maybe through Latinum or whatever, to get the Bat Boys involved and say, hey, I'm going to pay you to go kill these cadets and make a big mess while we do this over here. And the stakes have to be high. And he knows that he can hire them. I think he even said that they're mercenaries. They can be bought.
Yes.
But yeah, he has to have a lot of resources. And were those waiting for him after prison because of his dad? Does he have an empire of wealth somehow that he has the ability? Is it because he is a really great strategist and can pull off huge heists like this that
and
make
this is
him
my
so
point.
grand?
Like, we don't know enough of that, and I don't need his entire backstory. I don't need everything, but I need a bit more. All I know is that Nala put him in prison and he's a pirate. Like, I don't know. I'm not completely buying that he's this galactic leader of mercenaries and pirates. Like, I don't get Davy Jones from him. I don't get that commanding influence. I don't get that. I get he's a clown. Like, I get more of the clown vibe than I do the leading the band of thugs.
I get a very jovial yet serious. And, you know, he's really confident. He goes into this very confident and fun and flippant, because he's in a position of power from the beginning and he knows it. So I think he's just having a good time with it. And last time he was in that same kind of space where he was really enjoying. He's almost drunk with power, and it gives him this sort of charisma that I think can make him seem less serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about his motivations that he basically spells out at the end of the episode in his final message to Nala? Like, he is explaining that he hates her because basically what she stands for. She is Starfleet. Starfleet is this bureaucracy that thinks it's better than everyone else and wants to spread itself across the galaxy and homogenize everybody. And he hates that idea. She embodies that, but what she did to him was make him better and make him the best version of himself, because what she did to him focused his rage and focused him on giving the Federation and Starfleet a bloody nose to spite her. So he's kind of ended up doing this great thing because of his motivation to get at Nala. Is that working for you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think psychopaths are really, I mean, he has had a lot of time to not think about how any of his choices are his fault, or, you know, that he was apparently born into a life of crime and has a great seat of power to inherit from his dad. And
if that wasn't all bullshit.
If it wasn't all bullshit, we don't know. It is hard not knowing the characters, but that's part of it, starting a new show. That's always going to be a little tricky. I hope they don't kill him off. I hope he's just a recurring.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's still one of my predictions because he's got to be expensive as an actor.
Yeah,
but I hope they keep him around.
Sure, but the idea that there's this, I just think about all the times maybe that they would bring in like a Klingon over and over again. It's just like, oh no, it's that guy, you know, he's come back.
It's Tomalok, is a Romulan that keeps showing up.
Yeah, something that's longevity is not a gift that we get in short seasons. Exactly. We have to believe the history that they're telling with a character that's a jovial lunatic. You do have to wonder if anything's real. Like the big fake out that Joker did with you. Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Oh,
and he tells a story, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's horrible. Yeah. But then the next time he tells a story, he changes it. And I'm like, oh my God, you manipulated me.
I love that.
And I felt this deep sense of fear because someone who is willing to emotionally manipulate, even to the point of childhood traumas, so that you feel something for them, using your own empathy as a weapon for their own power and gain. I thankfully have met very few people like that. None of them as dangerous as the Joker.
No.
But I remember watching that feeling very uncomfortable. And this show hasn't given us that depth of understanding of this character. So I think I can see why we're kind of wondering about, what is he about? Is it all just smoke and mirrors? I mean, obviously, this is not smoke and mirrors anymore, because this episode firmly says,
oh yeah, he's
not somebody to be trusted, because guess what happened on J19?
Yeah.
Like, this episode firmly puts him into, oh, you think maybe he's going to help you guys out, but it's not just, ha ha ha, I'm going to take your shuttle and some of your resources and your dilithium or your trade route and go be a shenanigans guy. No, I'm going to take an entire space station, kill a bunch of people, and show up big time with a lot of power. So he is firmly in the stratosphere of, obviously a great strategist. It worked. Whether it should have or not doesn't work. But still it worked. And very dangerous. So he's not someone who's just playing. He's very dangerous. So did it work for me? Yeah, I think it has to. That this episode doesn't give you a lot of room to say it can't. He did take the station, and it did work.
It does raise the stakes of the episode. That is one of the big takeaways I have, is that regardless of how he got to that point and whether that's bugging you, the fact is he has these highly experimental weapons.
Or something.
He has killed a bunch of people. Yeah. The president of the Federation is pissed. They're holding an emergency meeting. Admiral Vance is the most angry I've ever seen him. And now it's fuck what next? Because the people that you don't want to have these weapons have these weapons. And like, I do like that it's kind of set that level of stakes at the end of this episode. I really enjoy that.
I do too, because before that, it's still that same feeling of Federation's back in power. Where, and this is reminding us that's just not, it cannot suddenly become what it once was. We're building towards that.
And there's a great bit of foreshadowing at the beginning when Nala's introducing the graveyard, the ship graveyard. And she says, once upon a time, you used to just be able to fly through space, like during TNG, and just explore things and have a jolly good time. But those days are long behind us. Space is dangerous. And even the way she's talking about that is kind of couched in this, well, we're safe right now, but here's an example of how space can be dangerous. When actually, by the end of the episode, exactly what she's talking about is what has screwed them and how dangerous and unreliable space now is. And even the Federation are targets. Whereas you wouldn't... A band of mercenaries would never have happened during TNG times. You're not targeting the Federation like that.
Which is I think why I kind of like it.
Yes.
I like that this episode reminds us very confidently there is not a superpower here. Power is up for grabs, and he just did a really big play for it.
Well, what's your third point, Ambassador?
Kind of along the same lines of like the stakes that are at play is that people die in this episode. This is not a fun tra-la-la.
Yes.
This is an episode where there's loss. There's obviously hurt. Our sassy Vulcan, which is so sad. And I'm just like, wait, why did he have to die? What do we not have the ability to... I guess he was just gone for too long. Maybe if he had been able to go to sick bay.
He point blank range chest vaporized. Like, I think we saw a hole in his chest.
We did.
Some stuff you just don't come back from.
He can come back.
I mean, Spock did, so I guess that makes sense. But he was doomed the second that he said the needs of the many. I was like, oh, he's dead. He's gone. Because the person he's quoting is Spock. And something happens to Spock, and he does a huge self-sacrifice.
What do you mean something happens to Spock?
It's fine.
What do you mean there's a sacrifice?
It's fine. There's a huge self-sacrifice, and it's one of
What do you mean self-sacrifice?
It's one of the things that Spock says. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And I was like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think it's good, though. I think, again, it's stakes. It shows that anybody could potentially die. Sam took a big hit as well.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Not only the war teacher, actually, dying and then being just jettisoned out to space like trash.
Yeah, brutal.
Happy Sam is injured. We get to see a photonic take damage, which is very alarming. Yeah, it was very glitchy, which I thought looked very important. The idea that now they can integrate what it looks like for Sam to adapt programming for trauma, to adapt programming to learn about safety measures.
She's got some lessons learning right now.
Kind of like the doctor. The doctor adapts programming to remember and carry on the hard times and the good times. And so is now playing a very complex character with a lot of things that he wants to be distant from, because living is pain when you're alive that long in that way. But as a program, they could choose to not remember that particular part and sort of reset themselves and say, I want to actually delete this. So I wonder what Sam will do with that information. And then we also have trauma in the realm of episode having hurt in it. We learn more about Captain Kitty's son, and there is a lot of hurt in this horrible bad guy just taunting her with her son's death and throwing out this idea that maybe if she wasn't so tied to duty that she could have got to him and potentially been able to spend her long life with her son and his long life.
Well, he raises an interesting point that she saved her crew, but her son and her could live multiple lifetimes. So if it's just a math equation, say there were 80 people on board, that's 80 lifetimes. Her son could live 1,000 lifetimes. So isn't he more valuable? And it's obviously life isn't like math equations like that, but it's an interesting point that he raises.
Yes, and the pain that he's just picking at this kind of wound, it's just horrible. There's it's a brutal episode. There's brutality in this episode.
Yeah.
That is that more serious tone. So we have a lot of serious stuff going on. The lightness of this episode really was in the beginning with the connection and some of the fun parts of hey, we're going to go on an away mission and we're going to have a good time. That quickly dissolves. And this episode is comfortable landing in the broken, the undone, the unjust, the unfair. We end on silence with weird echoey noises of screeches.
Over the credits,
and
the Furies was so good.
Unsettling the unsettling nature of what happens when a story doesn't put a bow on the ending.
Kind of love that. Bad guys sometimes win. Do you think he really got to Nala with the... So he's talking throughout the episode about Caleb and her son and how, well, this time you saved Caleb, but this time you saved the person that is your son, but a lot of people had to die in order for you to do it. So do you think that really got to her? Because we didn't get a lot from Nala. She doesn't fight back. She doesn't barb back. We don't get a lot from her at all in reaction.
She does have one moment when she pushes back, but she's extremely strategic, very specifically strategic because she wants him to talk. And in him talking, she was unsettled by his comfort and then knew that there was something else going on. But there is a subtlety in the acting that I was really riveted by. So you know that I take a bunch of notes as I type, as I watch. I don't actually look at the keyboard. I type totally blind because I want to watch what's happening. So that's why my notes sometimes will be completely wacky because either my finger will move by one and I have to remember where it actually is, or I'm just like not thinking about how I'm spelling things or whatever. And the moment when he first kind of begins to taunt her about her son, she just kind of like clenches her jaw and like kind of tilts and just like shifts and shimmies in these very subtle ways. It's very reserved in the acting department, but it's there. And her hands are kind of clenching and she is reliving something that's horrible. The choices forever you're asking yourself, no matter which decision you make, she's going to be haunted by those choices. And yeah, I didn't think that it was too little because she reveals the strategy of her restraint and then she does push him a little bit to see if that gives anything away. She's in a horrible position. She's stuck in her chambers with this idiot. There's no one there, which is insane to me that there's nobody in that room to even observe. She doesn't need to be alone with him when he like forces her to get in the chair and all this stuff. It's very uncomfortable.
Definitely using his power while he has it to turn the tables on her and just is really reveling in it.
But yeah, I definitely believe that she was reliving trauma, and it's serious. You know, there's some shows that are more serious than others, and in Star Trek, they really try to give a variety of feelings in their episodes as the seasons kind of move through. And we've had several back to back that have, you know, serious and fun mixtures, with last episode being the most upbeat of them all. And so to go on the pendulum swing all the way over to something so serious, it's just worth mentioning that this is not a romanticized, though there is romance in it at the beginning. This is death, real, ugly, you know, war, the dangers of space. So, you know, be prepared for that. I just thought it was worth mentioning that we're in the more serious category.
Yeah. I think the final thing, we've covered really the big stuff I wanted to talk about. I guess my third point would just be, I really like the action and tension in this episode. The first kind of like big action that we get, I love the 30 signals that come around. We hear
the visuals look really cool.
Yeah, and the Furies have boarded the ship. Like, I love that drama. And just the way that when we eventually get to see the cadets have been kidnapped and they do their like hand symbols to each other to like, Tomov wants to initiate this escape plan. And I just think all of that action was really well done. Like, I think there was a lot of restraint with the camera work. It wasn't like spinny.
No,
I got to see them be like pretty visceral. And then when like Tomov is getting like just attacked and like eaten alive is terrifying. I think the tension when the Furies are getting onto the bridge as well and trying to break in, that's really scary. And then when they eventually do get onto the bridge, I'm scared for everybody other than Caleb. I know he's going to survive. But I'm scared for Jaden. I'm scared for his potentially boyfriend Kyle. I'm scared for Barvi, of course. It felt like these were such a scary, aggressive enemy. And I really felt like they're not fighting the crew, they're fighting cadets, they're fighting kids. And I got this real vulnerable feeling, this kind of like just intangible tension that I think that you get through direction and setup. I just think the action and tension was really, really good in this episode. It really, really made me fear for the cadets.
going into this episode, we noticed that this has a pretty high IMDb rating as of the moment that we're recording it. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's the tension? Do you think it's the good bad guy that we're going against? Do you think it's the action?
Because
what do you think it is?
Online rankings are so mired in inconsistency and review bombing and people throwing their 2 cents in when they haven't even seen the bloody thing. And it's so hard to like see a holistic view of what does everybody actually think. So Metacritic is a pretty good one that kind of aggregates all of them, but it's still just like, if it's all getting bad data, who knows? But this is a marked difference. Everything is basically like 5, 5.3, and then one episode was 6, and then this jumps up to 7.3. It's 7.4 now. And that just makes me really happy because there's still going to be a big chunk of people that are review bombing this to like try and naturally bring that down. And yeah, I think it's a good balance of action, pacing, bit of space battling. There's less on the emotional touchy-feely side. So I think there's sex. I think on like a kind of crowd-pleasing vibe, this episode has a lot going for it. I think that might be what it is.
I think that there's a good chance that them being in space immediately helps.
Actually, being on the Athena, that opening shot of the Athena warping in, it is a gorgeous. It's my favorite ship, I think, of the 31st century, of the 32nd century, of this era. Like, it is stunningly gorgeous. It is so pretty.
I can't wait till they blow it up.
I stop here. They can't. They need to. Star Trek needs to stop blowing up ships.
They already did, though. Episode 1, they really had a good time.
Stop blowing up ships because it means less when you do it so often. But yeah, it's really interesting that this is an episode that is like it's the highest rank so far by a long margin. So
it's really fun to watch them not let our guys win.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of winning.
Maybe that's part of it as well.
There is a little bit of winning. You know, they do survive.
Yes.
Most of them.
They live to fight another day.
But overall, there's a big loss. And I think sometimes when episodes take swings of like just changing how things are like presented, that it can go really well because you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's fun. They let the bad guy win. That's different. So maybe that's part of it too. But I think being in space, the tension, like you're talking about, the storytelling, all of that, the death, the nudity.
The actual consequences.
It just feels like a movie.
No, I'm with you. It really did feel like a movie, like a part 1. So, Ambassador, what are your like few sentences that you've got?
We did cover them. I wanted to talk about the photonic that was able to be injured and
disrupted
and interface with the ship was really cool. So I loved the use of Happy.
I wonder how Happy is working because I know the Athena has hollow emitters.
Something on her arm, probably
everywhere. Yeah, but I wonder, like, does she need a mobile emitter or is she like self-cohesive?
I don't know because they had the uniform on that kind of distracted from armbands and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be curious about that too. I don't know that I know the answer to that based on something that happened in this episode particularly, but I think interesting to look for.
One of my sentences was just Nustafa. Absolutely killed me that his first name is Nustafa. And yeah, maybe that was all bullshit. And this is when he's telling the story about his dad. And it just cracked. It was like, now you listen here, Nustafa. And I was like, that's amazing.
We already answered this one, which the sentence for me was, the fuck is a singularity drive. That was one of my sentences.
Nice.
So I'll skip that one and go to, nothing brings everyone together quite like someone to hate. And we love to hate this character, Nustafa.
Nus Braka.
And that really just being that he's so bad. He's so beyond bad in this episode. We know he is evil. It unites everybody together. There's a common foe that we have, and in modern storytelling, they like to give backstories to the bad guys and give them reasons and try to give treaties and conversations, and this is them signaling that there is no coming back.
You don't negotiate with this guy. It's why the Borg are so satisfying. You don't negotiate with the Borg. You just get out of their way. Like, that resistance is futile. He whooshes around an NX-01 model. He flies an NX-01 right into the little model like Braka is One of the models he directly like flies it into the camera.
The pretend toy ship that he holds.
Little toy ship, yeah. And I noticed that there is also an Birth class ship in the background as well. So Nala is clearly a fan of circa 24th century starships.
As well as records.
Indeed. My last one really was just Genesis had a nice moment. I'm getting this instinct that she's underutilized still, but she did have a nice moment with Thok and like her giving us some confidence and the probe stuff and just being very good at what she does was satisfying. But
and
I still
Raimi
want
gave
more.
her the props for finding it, which was awesome. But yeah, my prediction about her being used in this episode, or like
was not her
more
episode.
about her coming to the front, was definitely not there. And I agree, she is being underutilized. I do want to know more about this character, like quite a lot.
Yeah, I completely
love
agree.
her prosthetics.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's so cool.
Ambassador, you ready for some pips?
Yeah.
Hit me.
I think I was going to go with like 3.5 pips.
An invalid pippage.
Which is not valid pippage. And then I remembered that an arm got lobbed off. And so I kind of wanted to push it sort of up more. I really love the sets in this episode. I loved seeing a really messed up bridge.
Yeah.
I don't know, like seeing them get to use other sets is fun. The circular tube twist hallways versus
they were so cool, weren't they?
Yeah, there's just a lot to look at and go, okay, what set are we on right now? Are they reusing sets from other stuff? Did they build this for this? And it was action packed and a lot of fun. The Nusfetter, Christopher Robin, what's his name? No.
Christopher Robin guy.
Braka. His whole like, how did he pull this off thing is pulling me down.
Mm-hmm.
But is it enough to pull it to a 3?
If you have to ask, it probably is.
No, I think it's still a 4. I really enjoyed it. When this episode ended, I went, wow, you know, and I can't really like shake that feeling. Although we're talking about some of the holes for us, I still had a really good time watching this one. I liked the pace change. I liked that we're getting out of the academy. I liked reminding ourselves the real stakes that this show takes place inside of a universe that's actually dangerous and doesn't always go their way, and that the Federation isn't at the top of the food chain all the time. So I think all of those things combined mean 4. Because I kind of want to watch it again.
Let's go. I thought that as well. As I was going through the episode, I was immediately like, I want to watch all of this again. And I felt that during episode 1. I felt that during episode 4 and 5 as well. Like, this is the most rewatchable I felt about Star Trek since Lower Decks. Lower Decks was an immediate, I will watch all of these episodes repeatedly, but yes, there's a lot of rewatchability here, and I think I'll enjoy doing that too. It is a 3 from me. There is a lot that kind of falls apart with the plan. I still think these episodes are too long, Deneé. I feel it. Each one I feel the 60 to 65 minutes.
That's wild. I have not.
Yeah, I feel some trimmage could happen, especially when we get to like the 2/3 mark. I think that most of Braka's speeches could have been condensed a little bit. I think we need a bit more Hannibal Lecter from him. Like less is more. Or Nus is more in this case. Yeah, it's a 3 from me, but I will say it's a very high 3. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I really had a good time with it. Well, next week, Ambassador, unsurprisingly, it's episode 7.
What? No.
It's called Cosine.
Like cosine?
Not unless it's alien speak, it's KO'Zene. Cosine or Cosine. Anyway, I have no idea what that's going to be about. But we only have 4 episodes left. If you want to get in touch with us, as a lot of you have, please send your emails and messages to iananddeneé@gmail.com, including any facts that you might have for Deneé, Star Trek or otherwise, I guess, that we will delve into at the top of the show. And
what do you mean Star Trek or otherwise?
No, it's got to be Star Trek.
It doesn't have to be, but...
Probably will. If you want it on the show, it'll probably have to be Star Trek. Join our lovely Discord and join our Patreon if you so wish. If you want to support the show and get an ad-free podcast feed so you can listen to all of this without any pesky adverts wanting your latinum. All of that is in the description of this episode. Anything else, Ambassador?
I would just like to thank the community on Discord for entertaining us with turning pictures that I posted into memes.
I got memed.
And really just sharing all of the things that you share on all of the channels of your life. We'll always try to provide a safe space for the fans and friends of Star Trek to kind of gather. And as the internet continues to change and evolve, we're going to try to our best to pay attention. And if we have to shift to different platforms because Discord is changing rules or whatever, we will figure something out. But we just want to thank you guys for, just being there. It's always fun. I log on and I'll catch up. And sometimes I'm just like, I want to say something, but I don't have the time right now to stop and chat. And I feel bad just like putting a message in and disappearing. But I see it all. Ian is in there daily, regularly.
He sure is.
So we just really, really, really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we dedicate this episode to the Discord. It's official. Well, until next week, I'm Captain Ian, and I am wanked, spanked, and ready to be a diplomat.
Jesus God. Oh my God. That was ridiculous. And its humans aren't the center of the universe for me.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to ian@iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/iananddeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out.
I want to remind you, Ambassador, or I want you to try and remember. Do you remember that? Yeah, I'm going to do that again because I said remember 17 times.
Are you in a coma, Captain?
Yeah, a little bit. Just pulled an implant out of my neck.
You know what? Let's have this Little Debbie birthday cake.
What I love about the side of the box and above the birthday cake thing is some text that says naturally and artificially flavored.
Yeah.
I mean,
it has both
redundant
natural
sentences
and artificial. Don't worry. It has
Redundant.
real flour that tastes like flour.
Exactly.
But then the birthday cake, the confetti flavor, the enhanced vanilla, maybe it's technically in there somewhere, but it certainly has been manufactured.
It honestly makes me want to burn down all of Little Debbie because it is so fucking sneaky.
Well, that's American food.
Yeah, but just say it's artificially flavored. Like this wood is naturally flavored. My finger, naturally flavored. Everything is natural. You only say naturally flavored when it's only naturally flavored. That's such a fuck. It's okay that it's artificially flavored because it's also naturally flavored. It's really fucking sneaky. And the thing is, you know what annoys me about it?
It tastes delicious.
Is that people think we're stupid. When companies put
shut up. Are you about to eat this thing?
When people put stuff
are you going to eat it?
When people, I don't know why I'm stopping. I can just edit you out. When businesses put stuff like this on the box, they think you're stupid. They think you're stupid enough to think this works. This will convince you that it's okay. I don't like being marketed at.
But you're going to eat it anyway.
It's like marketing chlamydia.
But you're going to eat it.
Yeah, that's not the point.
Okay, so here's the quotes that I found.
Okay.
From NASA astronaut Victor Glover. He said science and Star Trek go hand in hand, which I thought was really, really sweet.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Star Trek is the scientist's nerddom.
I guess that was from the documentary NASA on the Edge of Forever, Science in Space, explaining how the franchise has inspired scientists and astronauts and helped make the fiction of Star Trek come a little closer to reality. That was on NASA's website.
That's awesome.
This one is from the agency itself, and they quoted that Star Trek has influenced scientists and engineers and astronauts to reach beyond their potential.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
so cool to see them acknowledge that like so many people that have gone to the agency know that's part of the reason that they do what they do is because of Star Trek.
Because of Star Trek. Like, why are you here? Oh, Star Trek is the reason I love space.
Here is a quote from Space Ref. This is the former NASA astronaut Scott Parazynski on being inspired by Star Trek. As a physician growing up and watching Star Trek, we all wanted a medical tricorder. So one of the things I'd love to do is think big and push the envelope on what is possible. And so they were talking about like future medical technology. And of course we talked about a little bit about that actually becoming a current thing, but that's actually from another person, an astronaut, an actual astronaut.
The only people that are going to make Star Trek happen is us. That's my quote.
First of all, hello predictions. Can we talk about that?
Your season prediction.
Can you finish eating your fucking food? Are you kidding me right now?
Oh, I thought you were doing the synopsis. I took a bite and then you fucking throw it back to me. I thought you were in radio. I thought you knew about this.
No, I do know. That's why it's funny. It's because I threw it back to you on purpose. I saw you eat a fucking bite.
Such a dick.
You're just trying
I can't remember what I'm supposed to
shovel
say
everything
now.
down. You're licking your fingers. You look like a kid. It's just adorable kid that just got caught and smiling. Oh my
I'm gonna
God.
lick my fingers.